Serenity Foundation's basic approach is the biopsychosocial approach. We are working with the people having problem with alcohol and drugs. It's a rehabilitation center and the treatment is for minimum 90 days. We work with the client on his biological part of it, the psychological problems, that is the denial factors that they exhibit, the delusions that they have created for themselves, and then the social problems, family problems, marital problems that are attached with them. It is basically a US-based Hazelden program which is modified into the Indian culture base and used it here. The primary reasons for the young people to get into drugs, one is the peer factor, two is out of curiosity as to what this substance is all about. The peer group factor has a major thing on this. They are getting introduced to this chemical with their friends with a strong education done to them. Like, when you take this substance, your stamina grows, your concentration abilities grow, you can focus more on your studies. Most of them, try this substance because what they want to test whether what my friend is telling them really it makes sense or it doesn't make sense. And they get hooked on it. The moment that chemical goes in, it does an alteration in the mood and it relaxes your nervous system in the brain. So that automatically makes them believe that, okay, this is the chemical which can, let me forget the whole world around me. And then it becomes a habit every day, where biologically the blood also gets immune to the system. And they get hooked on to it. And then by the time they realize they are hooked on, they cannot stop it on their own. They need some kind of a medical assistance or they need some kind of a proper professional support. Most of the patients that come to us have experimented all possible ways to go and stop using drugs. The saddest part of all the cities in India is that even the psychiatrists believe that disulfiram or say some kind of an antibuse will really help. But the psychological thought process is no one is really able to help them with that kind of problems. A family takes a guy to a detox, get him physically detox for 15-20 days under a doctor, he's come home, he's okay for 1 month, but the psychological problem, the loneliness, non-occupation, failures in life, the rejections that he's gone through, the social stigma that he has, no one welcoming him, no one accepting him, no one understanding him, all these things, take him back to square one. He finds himself very comfortable with people who are using because he thinks, I can best identify with them and they can best identify with me and we can understand each other more better. First 10 days we make them abstain. They really go through a lot of withdrawal symptoms like hallucination, convulsions, loose motion, loss of appetite, where we give a minimum medicine support. Otherwise then that realization will not be there that how much physically I suffer when I use or I withdraw from chemicals. After 10 days, then we start with the psychological interventions. We call in for a family sitting with the client. And we study his denial patterns. How much of is he accepting, how much of is he blaming the society for, how much of is he rationalizing, how much of is he minimizing, how much of is he manipulating the whole situation, how much of dishonesty is involved in his behaviors and action. We study and assess the whole personality. And based on that study, we plan the strategies as to in which areas of his life or which personality problem in his life we need to work. Then we do a lot of personality development, anger management techniques. We do a lot of yoga, meditation with them so physically they are able to balance themselves. So in 3 months, this is what we are simultaneously working with the family to educate them about the disease. We are educating them as to how in future when he comes home, what are the minimum risk factors or the maximum risk factors that they need to guard and help him to cope with. And here we are helping the client to work on his personality and make it strong so that when he goes in the society, even if he sees a bar or he sees another guy using on the road, he shouldn't get mentally triggered to go and use chemicals again. It's very difficult to really put finger and say, okay, so many numbers of people are affected by substance abuse in Hyderabad or in Mumbai. It's because first the social stigma that is there, many of them do it secretly. And there is a lot of new generation getting involved in the chemical abuse. Because of lack of awareness, lack of education, there is no such subject in schools and colleges which really talks about what addiction can do, what is the personality that can become an addict or an alcoholic, So that are the major reasons where people really don't know what the problem is all about, and new generation is getting hooked into a lot of such kind of substance abuse. The relation between drug addiction and AIDS is very, very strong. I will believe that most of the people who are infected with HIV and AIDS are victim to either alcohol abuse or some kind of a drug addiction, especially of those who are doing drugs by using needle exchange or using syringes, those type of drugs. Many of them get into a group setup and they exchange a lot of needles, so they are victim to HIV infection. There is a lot of female addiction also in India. The only problem is that they are still not exposed to the society because of the social stigma attached. Boys, they are very easily exposed and they come out in the light very fast, so it is easy to be detected and treated. The idea of Serenity Foundation to start a female center was because we were getting a lot of inquiries about helping female patients. But unfortunately, there was no facility available. And the moment we asked them their name, or where they stay, or what is their contact number, they would immediately disconnect the line and they wouldn't call us back again. So we decided, instead of telling them, oh no, we have a facility, so that we can say, okay, come forward, we are there, we'll sit and talk, and we will surely see how best we can help you with the problem.
Is it common for users to come to a point where they cannot reconcile with the problem, so they just continue doing what they're doing and they live with a lot of animosity against self?
Yes, there are many of such cases here and in major metropolitan cities who have really lost hope within themselves and lost family support. They have reached a point where they believe that I cannot survive without using chemicals. They think there is no help available, and that's why many of them die using on the streets. Many of them kill themselves or they suicide because they cannot take the pain of using also anymore, plus they cannot live without the chemicals.